Echo Dad would like to talk.
Several weeks ago, I wrote an article called Alexa, Where Art Thou? Essentially, it was about what happens when Alexa's not there, or any of your voice assistants aren't there. We're used to using voice assistants on our smart speakers. Those smart speakers might be on your kitchen counter, they might be on your coffee table, might be on your bedside table, but they're in the home and they're static. So what happens when you're out and about and they're not around anymore? Can we still use them? Do we interact with them in a different way? That's what this article is about, and I'm just going to have a quick look now. So using these devices when you're out and about is less of an issue for Google Assistant and Siri. They were born on the phone. It's more of an issue for things like Alexa. Now, a lot of us, if we use voice assistants, we've probably got access to more than one. If you have Alexa in your house, the likelihood is you've also got an Android or an Apple phone. And if you've got an Android or an Apple phone, then you have Google Assistant or Siri, which natively you can use as you're out and about. But what about Alexa? What if Alexa is your preferred voice assistant? She's your voice assistant of choice. How does that change things? Let's look at the car to start with. In-car voice assistants are notoriously bad. I have a Skoda that was new this year. My father-in-law's got one that was 3 years older. Now, the voice assistants that are in them, the inbuilt ones, are terrible, but they're the same voice assistant essentially. The technology's not been updated, despite the fact that that technology has updated in the last 3 years. Some cars you can also access Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So you can have a variation of the technology in your car, but it's a subset. You can't do everything. Equally, you've got the Alexa app, and whereas the Alexa app is good, it offers a subset of Alexa's functionality. So you can't do things like set reminders via voice, like you'd be able to if you had your smart speaker. Now this is changing with Echo Auto, which is already winning awards for its accessibility. But what I would like to see are things like being able to set a reminder to go off on a different device. Okay? Alexa, set a reminder for 8 o'clock to go off on my living room device. It'd be great because then you can seamlessly move between your car and your home, and you're not hindered by anything. The second thing I look at is being out and about, commuting for example, or walking down the street. There are lots more devices with voice assistants like Alexa, like Google Assistant, built in, coming to the market. I think a lot of these companies are putting a lot of their eggs in that basket. There are more hearables around. We don't want to be tied down to our smart speaker in our living room or in our kitchens. But what happens when you start talking to them when you're out and about? What effect does that have on society? What social effects does that have? It's a lot like the dawn of the mobile phone. When you were talking on a mobile phone in public, you were kind of vilified, you were looked at in strange ways. The same is true if people start talking to the ether, but in fact they're just talking to a hearable in their ear. People are going to start looking at you funny. People aren't going to like the fact that you're talking to things. Bringing it back to the kids for a second. If hearables become a big thing, they become as common as headphones are now, does that pose an issue for teachers? I know teachers have enough problems as it is trying to get kids to concentrate in lessons and to keep them off phones and to keep headphones away from them. So what effect is that going to have if you've got access to more things within school? Does education need to change the way it's looking at things when it comes to voice assistants? Does it need to embrace them instead of being scared of them? Could they be used for enhancing education instead of potentially damaging it? That's an interesting one. Is society ready for voice assistants to be prevalent? They don't differentiate between voices well enough at the moment. So if, for example, I'm sitting on a train. So if, for example, you're sitting on a train, just got into a new relationship, and you say, Alexa, remind me at 8 o'clock tonight to text Joe. What if that goes off on someone else's device? And that person happens to be on on the rocks in their relationship, and suddenly a reminder goes off to text Joe at 8 o'clock. That's not going to go down too well, I wouldn't imagine. The other day I was on a train, it was about 10 o'clock at night, I was coming home, and someone got on the train and they had one of those language apps open and they were listening aloud, and they were learning the language aloud on the train. Now, as annoying as I found that, is that something that's going to become more socially acceptable? Are we going to allow things to be playing out loud? Or are we going to confine them to our ears and you just hear a lot of people talking? Who knows? That's why it's an exciting time to be involved in this. And you've also got the problem of these voice assistants requiring an internet connection. Not everything does. There's platforms out there like Snips that are looking to create a way of accessing voice assistants without having to be connected to the cloud. Equally, Google Assistant's new face recognition is going to take place on device, not in the cloud. So gradually we're moving towards that, but we're not there yet. So what happens when you hit a dark spot? When I travel into London, there's a bit on the train line where I can't access the internet. It's a dark spot. Could we see more offline connectivity coming? Offline capabilities coming? Do we need cloud connectivity? Do you have a preferred voice assistant? How much do you use the voice assistant when you're out and about? Is your car's inbuilt voice assistant any good? Have you ever found yourself trying to use a voice assistant and it not being there? I know I have. Would you like to have more offline capabilities for your devices? Let me know in the comment section down below. You can find me on Twitter at EchoDadVoice. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more and reviews with the kids. I'll put a link to the original article down in the description below. For now, the future's here. Go live it. It's just occurred to me that where I'm going. Can we interact with them in a different way? Well, they always say this hurts your arm.